Are you a person who's always scribbling, always talk about negative things, always thinking and anticipating something bad is going to happen? Because if you're thinking that, oh my God, every single time I have anxiety, every single time I'm thinking that something bad's going to happen, and something bad actually happens, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm proved right. Something bad was actually going to happen, and something bad actually happened. Meaning, I'm like, knowing what's going to happen. So the next time that things are going well, you start thinking what next bad is going to happen. This, even though is a trauma response from like bad things happening to you over and over again, this is a flaw in your mindset which is stopping you from attracting abundance. You need to change your reality, and to change your reality to actually attract that abundance, you need to start vibrating on that level. Every single thing that is happening in our reality is a product of the vibration we're on. Let's take an example. A poor person who has no job, is probably like a farmer or whatever, would be thinking, acting, and doing completely different than a millionaire in like Dubai or something, right? Completely different. So their way of thinking, their way of acting, their way of doing will be completely different. Why? Because they're living completely different realities. Why? Because they have their own complete different vibrations. And let's say you're in a very mediocre situation, you're living a mediocre life, and you want to change that mediocre life. You want to attract good things in your life. To do that, you need to start vibrating and thinking and acting like you are living that life you want. You have to, so you have to really consume the information you want to become. If you're constantly saying that, oh, I want to be happy, I want to be happy, but you're always listening to sad songs, you're always watching sad movies, you're always just scrolling on reels, you're not going to be happy because you're not even trying to be happy. If you really want to attract that reality, you have to go on printers maybe and keep seeing pictures, keep seeing things of what you want, because that way you're able to visualize it in your reality. Meditate, visualize what you want, visualize and think of things that you want to happen, the things you want in your reality, not things that you don't want. If you're constantly thinking about the things you don't want, you're going to attract the things that you don't want just by thinking of them. That's how strong your thinking power actually is. And a lot of times we ignore this power. This power is actually within us to attract whatever we want, but we ignore it because even though it's really simple, people are lazy. People will just be lazy to sit for 2 minutes a day and visualize what they want. Because it's like, even though it's like less, there's like no risk and no, barely no effort, but it's high reward and it's like a chance I can take. A lot of people don't believe in this, and a lot of people are too lazy to try it because it's like kind of getting out of their normal routine, because of which they don't even try it. If you want to differ, you have to take different actions. If you want to be someone, if you don't like who you are right now and you want to be a different person, you have to start acting different. You have to start thinking different. If you're a failure, like you keep failing, right? Not a failure. If you keep failing or you're not doing well in your exams, and you constantly study thinking you're the type of person to not do well in your exams, you're not going to do well in your exams because you're not thinking and doing like someone who gets 90% would. Because imagine that you were really good at a specific subject. So since you were really good at it, you would be very confident about studying it. You would be excited to study it because you're like, oh wait, I'm actually really good at this, because you have like a certain aspect of joy and fun in doing it, right? You would approach that subject differently than you would approach a subject that you didn't like and that you didn't do well in. And that's exactly how your expectations would change while getting the results. What you want to do is match the vibration of what you want to attract. If I want so and so things, I'm going to approach and think so and so to attract this. If I want to do well in a subject, I'm going to approach it in a way as I would for a subject I liked. You know, a lot of people do this and it actually motivates them and to like work harder as well. Like, let's say I have physics, and obviously I don't enjoy physics, but when I'm studying physics, I'm going to think, okay, I'm like a physicist and I need to study physics. So it will become more interesting to me because it kind of gives me like a purpose to enjoy that subject, right? So just like that, you have to approach things in your life. Like, For example, if you're constantly thinking and constantly have anxiety about what negative thing is going to happen next, it is going to happen and negative things are going to take place in your life. But if you want to not have those negative things come into your life, you have to start thinking about the positive things that can come into your life, because there's always a possibility of something or the other, and you want to think of the possibilities of the good things, because that's when you'll be able to match that vibration. So in summary, basically you need to think about what you want, think about what you like, and approach things in a positive affirmated context rather than negative affirmated context. You don't want to be cribbing, you don't want to be talking negative, because the more you do that, the more you're going to attract. Your words have more power than you realize, your thoughts have more power than you realize, and your actions obviously hold the maximum power. So you want to utilize this energy, you want to utilize the power of your visualization. You want to utilize all these things that can actually help you get into that dream reality you want. You want to utilize all this because it's actually possible. Do you know what was the possibility of you coming into this world? Almost like one out of infinity, because there's so many realities, so many different things, that it's actually crazy how you're even here on this earth. This is what was spoken in the book Attitude by Adam Jones and Adam one more, but it's called Attitude, and he spoke about how the possibility of you being in this world is actually one out of infinity. And even in Visitless video, she said that it is like you winning the race out of all the sperms was also like one in a million times. So obviously, if you're here, you're special and you have a certain amount of power. All you need to do is realize that power, realize how much power your thoughts have, your actions have, your words have, and act on it, because the dream reality you want is already yours. And you just need to believe and actually feel that it's yours, because it is already yours. All you need to do is take the actions to get to it, because your future self already has it. So use this power wisely and actually use this power, because you are a very powerful being, and you have all the power you need in the world to create this dream reality of yours. Thank you.